All right, Suzanne, thanks a bunch. Here's Coach Cal from actually a couple of years ago.
You're not going to win unless you win.
You know, you can't argue with that, that's for sure. There's a couple guys on the line here. They've co-written a book called 100 Things Wildcat Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. Sadly, I looked through the book. I think I've done all these things or know most of these things already anyway. So let's bring in, first off, I think I have Joe on this line. I've forgotten all of a sudden. Joe Cox, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And then I found that troublemaker Ryan Clark over here. Ryan, you there?
Hey, man, how are you?
Very nice. You fellows are in different parts of the Commonwealth of Kentucky at this hour.
That's right.
As best I can tell. Ryan, you're in northern Kentucky?
We cover it like a blanket. Yeah, I'm up in NKU, Highland Heights, Kentucky.
Are you a newspaper reporter? You're a teacher? What are you? You're a combination of all kinds of things, aren't you?
I'm a recovering newspaper reporter. I did that for about 6 or 7 years, and then got off that sinking ship, and then came over here to NKU to teach. So, and I say that, with all gratitude. I loved being a reporter and everything, but now I'm just doing some other stuff.
Well, very good. And then Joe Cox, you're an attorney in Bowling Green?
That's right, Terry.
That's a fine city. I've gone there many times because my son was at Western for 4 years, and he had a ball and loved their whole broadcast outfit. All right, but fellas, in your heart of hearts, you're Wildcat fans.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the book started, was on the green pastures of Western Kentucky University in the fall of 1998. Two freshman guys happened to meet each other, and we started talking Kentucky basketball, and we haven't quit yet.
100 things Wildcat fans should know and do before they die. Give us a couple examples. Ryan, I'll start with you.
Well, you're going to find everything from the people you would expect, Adolph Rupp, Joe B., that guy who lives there now, Rick Pitino, and John Calipari, and then you're going to find some folks that you maybe wouldn't expect, like Bobby Knight, for instance, who, when you're talking about topics that people need to know about Kentucky, you need to know about the people that you're going to hate as well. And
okay, let me stop you there for a second, Ryan. So is the reference to Bob Knight in here that he cuffed Joe Hall in the back of the head in the 70s, or that he said recent things?
That's part of it. Yeah, I think that's all of it. And then we also incorporate the rivalry between Kentucky and Indiana, which is, really what everybody needs to know, that rivalry was one of the greatest until they, stopped playing this year. So.
In Freedom Hall, when they used that, and it was half red and half blue, and each time somebody made a bucket, half the house went nuts. I thought that was perfect.
It was great. That was a great environment. After being there for a couple of UKIU games, I thought that was an awesome place to watch that game. Yeah.
And Joe Cox, why is it Bob Knight is so gutless he can't show up for a UK game like last night on ESPN?
Well, Terry, I can't say I was too terribly disappointed. My radio got mysteriously turned off about the time when I realized he wouldn't be joining the proceedings. I don't know. I hope Bob makes an appearance in Rupp Arena if he's got such strong opinions about one and dones and Coach Calipari and the UK program. Like you say, show up, show your face.
All right, who wants?
Joe, I was going to say maybe we could sing the song that's in the book.
The Indiana song, Hoosiers Roasting on an Open Fire?
Yeah, I have to give credit to my granddad for that, who came up with it when the rivalry was at its peak, probably back in the 80s, after the Joe incident and such. He came up with Hoosiers Roasting on an Open Fire, which you can find in our book.
It's very nice. All right, the book's called 100 Things Wildcat Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. We'll come back and talk to these two authors in a few minutes, find out a few more principal items in here, and then where you can meet them for book signings coming down the road. Back in a few here on 84 WHAS. We're talking to two authors of a book called 100 Things Wildcat Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. Ryan Clark and Joe Cox are with me. Ryan, there's a section in there where somebody went and visited with that guy online. What does he call himself? UK Cat 8 fan?
Yeah, UK Cats fan. I think the 8 is kind of like an S.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Which one of you guys talked to him?
I talked to him.
Joe?
No, it's Ryan.
Okay, Ryan, you go ahead. Tell me about him.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things we wanted to do in the book is kind of bring, UK fandom into the now. And, what that means is follow Rex Chapman on Twitter because he's hilarious, and follow UK Cats fans videos on YouTube. And he's just this guy who's like an engineer or something who just happens to be really good at working with, iMovie or something like that on his Mac. And he makes these really nice tribute videos to Kentucky teams and their seasons and things like that. Ever since John Wall got there, and he's really populated YouTube with these things, and they're amazing. Really nice, high quality stuff. And so I talked to him about that and kind of why he got into it. And it's just one example of kind of the cool stuff that social media has made available now for the Big Blue Nation.
It's smart, yeah, for people who say, well, I know who the Fiddlin' Five is or Rups Runts, and yeah, those are nice historical facts, but you do have to keep rolling forward with this monster that is Wildcat basketball.
Yeah, social media was made for Big Blue Nation, to get on there. And I'm sure, everybody's on there jumping off bridges after last night, and, you know how it goes. I mean, that kind of, blogs and Twitter and that kind of thing were made for this. But, so we try to incorporate that into the book as well.
All right, Joe, do you see Ashley Judd as Senator Ashley Judd down the road?
We were at the Kentucky Book Fair on Saturday at Frankfort, Terry, and along with who the new football coach is going to be, that was the number one topic of conversation.
Of course.
Everybody said, what do you think? I was amazed when I heard it. It was something that hadn't even entered my consciousness. If I'm Ashley, my thing is, okay, I'm an outsider. I don't have any experience, but guess what? It means I haven't been corrupted by the machine. I'm rich. I'm famous. What can I milk this for? Nothing. So I'm going to get in there and do what I think is right. I think it's a pretty good sell.
Well, it's going to be interesting to follow the story, that's for sure. But like the point I've made over and over again is that so many Democrats have worked hard in the system over years, and would it be, will fans then stuff the ballot box essentially to put somebody in who's not, worked in the Democratic system? But we'll see how it works. All right, number one in the book, and deservedly so, is Adolph Rupp. And I love it that you guys have K. Wood right up front in there too, because obviously a big part of his career was right here. Number two is Joe B. Hall, of course, rightfully so. Patino's listed in that top 10, so's Tubby Smith, John Calipari, Bill Kitely in at number 4, Mr. Wildcat. And I'm so glad that you have Dan Issel in there early on. I find him just the kindest person and a great representative for UK.
Oh, Dan is absolutely an ambassador for the university, had a great pro career, had a very underrated coaching career, and he's done the school proud at every level.
Why did you guys include Billy Clyde there at number 100? Who wants to take that one?
I think that was my idea. Well, I think you have to. Well, Joe, talk about the sidebar for a second.
Well, the problem with Gillespie is if you look at the sidebar that we wrote, we did this book after the first season, and we wrote a sidebar, and it kind of says, well, it's been terrible in Texas. It's going to be hard for him to turn it around, and we're kind of gently prodding the reader to the fact that, okay, this will combust. We don't know when, we don't know how, but this will combust. But, of course, being Billy Clyde, he had to thwart 2 UK fans yet again, and he exploded after we went to print. So
He did it just to spite you two.
He did. He held on to his sanity a few more weeks just to, how can I, job over a couple more Wildcat fans?
We never thought it would happen that quick.
But it's Billy Clyde, boys. Come on.
But it makes sense.
I'm also glad you included the Joe B. and Denny show. And, of course, Matt Jones is my buddy. And his KSR contribution to the Wildcat culture is phenomenal.
Yeah, that plays into that whole social media thing that we're talking about. You have to listen to KSR, and you have to participate in the show thread. That's what you have to do.
And then you mentioned like the Comeback Cats and these various teams that were so great too over the years. Fabulous Five, and then Bowie's in there, and all, John Wall. It's a great book for a Cat fan. 100 things Wildcat fans should know and do before they die, because some of the things to do are like visit certain places around the Commonwealth and obviously be in the eruption zone and certain things you have to do.
Right.
Well, guys, thanks for this. Where will people see you for book signings? Anybody know the answer to that one yet?
I do. We've got one that's set in stone, more or less, in Elizabethtown at the Barnes & Noble down there on Saturday, November the 25th from 1 to 4. Louisville is on the itinerary. We're still ironing out some details, but I think we're looking at 2 or 3 signings in Louisville in early December. If people want to stay up to the minute on that, they can check us out at Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/100thingswildcats, and we try to keep that up to the minute.
Okay, good. That's your Facebook page, 100 Things Wildcats.
That's it.
And they can definitely find us too at Carmichael's on December 8th that afternoon. So
very good.
But yeah, keep up with the page, and you can find us wherever we're going to be.
All right, Facebook, and then it's 100 Things Wildcats. That's where you can find it. All right, guys, appreciate it. I love the book. 100 Things Wildcat fans should know and do before they die. Ryan Clark and Joe Cox, thanks a bunch.
Thank you,
Terry.
Terry.
All right, sports and weather now.